The fourth, Beartown by Frederick Backman. This is my favorite novel of all time. I'm going to give you a little background story. I was coming back from Melbourne to fly to the top end of Australia where I was living at the time. My grandfather had just passed away. I was sitting in an airport and I just had this book on my lap and I hadn't started. I was crying. It was recommended by both my mum and my local bookseller, and so I bought it. And there was a woman that sat next to me, and she's like, "You're gonna love that book. I didn't like it, but you're gonna love it." And funny fact, she's the only person I've met that hasn't loved this book. I picked it up and turned over the first page and started reading on a 4 hour flight. And I read until I arrived home at about 6 a.m., crying my eyes out the entire time. It was the first time a book made me feel that it was so real that the person that was in the book or the characters in the book, I could save them and I could help them. Frederick Backman is maybe the most beautiful, emotional, pivotal author I've come across. And this story follows the junior hockey team who's about to win the final, and until the devastating event of their star player, before the star player gets turned in for rape, and the team has to make choices, and there's moral dilemmas, and there's challenges, and there's moments, and there's something to be said about having to choose the thing that perhaps you're scared to choose. Um, there's big voices, there's big characters, and it is a small Swedish town, and it is just beautiful. But when I read these pages, and I reread it recently, it makes me desperate to write something of the same equivalent for myself. And there's something powerful in those books that make you want to be a writer. Every time I read this book, every time I think about this book and compare my own writing, I realize I am miles away, and that's okay. But this is what I want it to feel like. And that is what I'm trying to achieve. And it could take me 10, 15, 20 years, but that is the goal. So I'll let you know how that goes. But Beartown by Frederick Backman, if you haven't read it, you definitely